everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to do this project today. It is using the Census Kit by Ali Edwards, the story kit, and I'm using the digital components to put this page together. I have a massive, like 50 photos here, I think, and I am just, like I said, very excited to put this together. I was in the Story Kit classroom and I watched Jenny Ray's video about how she combined all the senses onto one layout, and I knew that at some point I'd want to do something like that, but I kind of wanted to think if I could come up with my own project, and I did. Took a lot of brainstorming, but I did. I went through our spring photos, so March, April, and May, and I pulled all the favorites and any photo I thought could be used for a census. So I have hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, and touching. And I have these photos and I'm going to adhere them down and then make a waterfall to add some more photos, and it's going to be amazing, and I hope you guys are excited to see this come together. So it is going to be the entire season of spring documented for our family and our family album using the 5 senses. All right, I am going to get the rest of the supplies and switch to voiceover. Okay, so to make these long boxes for the senses, I took the cards from the digital story kit. They're like small cards. I want to say roughly 3x2. I took them and extended them so that way they would go all the way to the bottom of a page that goes outside the page protector. So I have 3 pieces for each of the senses. The top one has the hearing, and then the middle one will be just the solid color that matches, and the third one will be the same type of box as the top box. It just won't say the sense. I then had my Cameo cut out 1,000,000 pictures, 1.5 by 1.5, I believe. And so the next step before I add in the photos is to adhere the top box, the top section, hearing, to the solid color. I couldn't find my scoring board, so I just used a ruler, and that worked just fine. So I score it up at the top, right below the word hearing, and then it'll flip up and show more of the photos. And I'm just going to go ahead and repeat this with all 5 of the senses. Now, seeing and tasting have a lot more photos, so I made those a little bit longer of boxes, and so I'll wind up with a staggered type of design, which I'm totally fine with, because I think smelling and touching wound up being slightly smaller than hearing. So I have a total of 3 different sizes of boxes, which is just fine. It makes for a fun, interesting design, and either way, I absolutely love how this came together and the work that I put into bringing this to life, because it was a lot of pieces to cut and assemble, and totally worth it. So I am going to continue to assemble all of these blocks and then scoring them up at the top where it says the sense, and build my layout. I wanted to make sure that I put these on first because I need to make sure that they're all going to fit. In my Photoshop elements, they did all fit each of the 3 columns, each of the senses. There's 3 on the left and 2 on the right. I just wanted to make sure that they all fit. And then I can begin to grab all of my photos. I'm so excited to see this come together. I'm probably going to say that a few more times, but I'm very excited. So I put down the solid red block down on the bottom, and then the hearing, and that way it can flip up. I'll go ahead and add the rest of the senses. Then I will add in the photos. So it's kind of a lengthy process just to get to the point where I can add the fun photos. But I appreciate you sticking with me, and you will see that it is worth the extra work it takes to put into this page. It is going to be so much fun. And I felt like I was either Jenny Ray or Jenny Simon or even Shu Wen putting together this interactive page, because I don't normally do a lot of interactive scrapbooking, but I did with this, and it was so much fun. Okay, time to add the photos. I'm going to have 4 for each of the columns and senses. So 4 will fit and 4 is perfect. And some of them will have photos on the solid block. So for hearing, I'll have 2 photos and then I have extra space. And what I did after I assembled everything is I went back to my computer and typed out some journaling because I can print that on clear sticker paper and add in little descriptions of the various photos that I picked for each of the senses. So I do 4 and then 3 on the bottom one and 2 on the solid color. So I wound up with a ton of photos for hearing, but even more for seeing, because seeing is such an easy one to kind of document. And I love this project. I encourage everyone to go through their folder for a season, like their folder of photos, and just see what you can find for each of the senses. So I put 4 on the solid green block for seeing, and then 3 on the white portion. And I left a pretty good chunk for journaling on seeing. Now, smelling, a lot of it is in the kitchen. No, most of it is in the kitchen, which is totally fine. And I had nothing on the solid block, so I will just add a little bit of journaling on there. And for tasting, I have a ton of pictures. And smelling, it's funny too, most of the things in smelling are like my daughter's projects or my daughter's baking, so that was really fun to kind of take notice of. So tasting, I actually noticed too that I had 2 photos of when we tried 2 different restaurants after we got done hiking. So that was fun. And there was also a birthday cake and Easter muffins for tasting. So tasting has 4 and then 4 and nothing on the solid yellow block, which is the same as smelling. So it worked out for a little bit of consistency as far as the amount of photos. Now, touching had a bunch. I had a bunch for touching. So I will do 4 on the top and then 3 on the solid portion and leave a little bit of room for journaling, and 3 on the third section with the white. And it's funny, for the touching, I included a photo of both of my kids touching me, basically. And, you know, that's just part of being a parent, right? You're constantly being touched. And so I thought that was fun to include those 2 photos. So now I have a little bit of room, and I went back to my computer and printed all of this journaling and all of these flowers from a digital stamp, and I printed senses. I also printed of and spring, but I don't think I'm going to use those. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab my Laura Wansick stamp set to add a title. I'm excited to use those digital flowers as a pop of color and a great addition to the title over on the right-hand side. I'll begin to cut out all my journaling blocks that I have, and I just did a bullet point list for what most of the photos represent. So over on hearing, I put my daughter running in the sprinklers, rushing water in the foothills, dinner conversations. We had a Bewick wren bird nesting, and my kids making noise on the trampoline. I had a second block as well, and I put listening to my daughter's Lego stories, bees buzzing in my in-laws' bush. It's a gorgeous bottle brush bush, I think. And on seeing, I have a ton of things too. I had to cut off a few because I couldn't fit everything. So I have a California lizard, my son's goofy poses, my daughter making stuff out of nature findings, and releasing some butterflies in the yard, and also puddles, spring puddles and reflections. So a ton of stuff to put for seeing. For smelling, I just have 1 block of journaling. Probably should have printed it in white color, but that's okay. So I'm just going to put that on the solid blue block, talking about how we have so much going on in the kitchen with fresh cookies, brownie batter, and the spices for our favorite baked chicken recipe, and a science project. Tasting had a million photos, so I just wrote about, my breakfast bowl and spicy chili chips and trying new restaurants. For touching, I have 2 journaling blocks on the inside about my son catching a fish, the soccer ball, touching giant boulders, and the food I prepare for myself and my people, hail, and of course my kids constantly touching me, right? So I put senses, and this is where I'm going to go ahead and get out my alphabet stamp set from the Laura Wansick and Ali Edwards collaboration. I'm kind of seeing where I want those clear sticker flowers. Then I'll put down the stamps, and just to make sure that everything is going to fit, and then I can go ahead and add everything. Like I mentioned earlier, it's clear sticker paper that I printed everything on. So I stamp of in the cursive font, which I thought was perfect. Then I realized I need to go ahead and turn my layouts, that way I can finish stamping of and also spring. And then I'll add in the clear sticker flowers, and I will be done with this project. I decided to add in a few over on the left-hand side. So last step, like I said, is the clear sticker flowers, and I'm so glad I decided to add those to the title. It's just such an easy way to add in a little more color and also a fun title. I'll just cut off the pieces that I don't need, and I'll take them and use a few over on the left-hand side. Just a small little pieces to fit over on the left. And then I will be done with this project, and like I said, yes, it was a lot of work, but it was really worth it, and it almost makes me want to do it for every single season now for the rest of this year. But I'd love to know in the comment section, what months do you consider winter? Is it November, December, January of the following year? I don't know. Just let me know, because I was thinking about that as I was thinking about doing this for other seasons. So there you go. I've got it in my family story album, and it's done, and I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing this massive project come together, and I just had the best time putting it together. I'm just showing you the different blocks of journaling and the different senses that I have for this. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.